ladies and gentlemen, if it looks like we haven't moved far, it's because we haven't. So I'm back with another steering video, and we're having an issue. That steering gear, my last video, put it in, and if anybody's been following this channel for any amount of time, you know that I hate remanufactured or parts store parts. I usually try to go back with Ford OEM parts. Well, I couldn't get the Ford OEM part. So I reluctantly put a Master Pro from OReillys into the truck. Apparently that's what was in it to start with. The first one was worse than what I took out. It was bad. It wasn't leaking, but it had a ton of play. So I've been through 3 now. I'm on the 3rd one, it's in here. And I'll put a clip up of what it's doing. So obviously this thing doing this is unacceptable, and hopefully somebody from OReilly sees this. I'm not going to bash OReilys because Master Pro, albeit a OReilly's brand, I seriously doubt that they have anything to do with the manufacturing process or the quality control of the parts. They buy them, put them in a box that says Master Pro on it, and send them down the road. But 3 boxes in, and I'm having issues like this, and they're all loose, they're all wore out. This one, it seems like they didn't even adjust it before it left the manufacturing process. I mean, that could potentially kill someone. If they're not paying attention, they go out on a test drive or something like that, they don't know, go into a turn on a highway at 70, 80 mile an hour, and the things start, especially if they don't have a steering dampener, get a death wobble going, with the added movement or the play in the steering gear, I mean, that could have shit consequences for somebody. So OReilys, if you're watching, you really need to look at this process. You need to look at this part and figure it out, man, because OReilys charges about 3/4 of the cost of a Redhead steering gear for this truck. And for another couple $100, I could go get a Redhead steering gear, which I'm going to do. There's about a 3-week lead time on them, and never have to mess with it again. So for that amount of money, I would expect at least some tight tolerances in a rebuilt steering gear. So enough talking. I'm gonna drop this thing out of here. We're gonna get it up here on the makeshift bench because I haven't set up a real bench in my new shop. As a matter of fact, the shop is a mess. This is a Redhead steering gear. I told you guys in the last video we were gonna replace that with a Redhead steering gear. So I put this in, drove the truck for a while, and this thing is dangerous as hell. So the amount that this sector shaft is moving up and down is very, very concerning to me, simply because any lateral force on this thing, i.e. the tires pushing back on the drag link, would cause that to move up. And if the sector shaft moves up, that's bad, because this sector shaft is all one piece attached to 3 fingers up at the top, right? So these 3 fingers engage into the worm gear that's on the input shaft. So if you're able to push that up like that, you're changing the lash of the sector shaft gears against the worm gear on the input shaft, which could result in the vehicle being uncontrollable, right? So I noticed that in a turn to the right, the truck, I could literally feel the wheels chattering, right? And that's this bouncing back and forth because the lash changed. So just for context here, same gearbox, same you know, same casting and everything. This is the Redhead steering gear. And there, try as I might, I mean, that thing is solid. I'm not gonna beat on the thing with a hammer because it's a $700 gearbox, but for what, I think I paid $629, then with tax, whatever. Redhead gearboxes didn't sponsor me. They didn't buy this for me. I paid for this thing with my own money because I'm sick to death of parts stores gearboxes because Ford isn't selling. I mean, I'm sure they probably are now. Maybe by the time you watch this video, they will be, but not only was this thing dangerous, it took out some more expensive parts on my truck. That being able to high-speed wobble like that actually wallered the hole in my knuckle, in my right-hand knuckle. So the drag link goes down to this, or this goes down, pitman arm, drag link, over to the right passenger side knuckle, and then the arm comes back to the driver's side wheel, right? So that vibration actually wallered out my right knuckle. And the cheapest I've found that, a Ford part, because nobody, you could get high steer knuckles, but I mean, I really have no reason to change everything over to high steer. Maybe if it drove on the road, I would, but I think it's supposed to be off-road only. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. This cheap $400 gearbox from OReilly's took out a part twice the cost. Ford sells them, the new right knuckle, for $1,200. So I say all of this to tell you, don't even screw with these. Half the time you get an aftermarket one that's worse. The only reason I held on to this is because it's a Ford casting, and Redhead wants the same thing they gave you back, right? So I also noticed that it had a bunch of lateral movement when you tried to turn the wheel. I had my wife turn the wheel, and I got under there and watched, and you could see the sector shaft moving back and forth in the gearbox, which means the bearing in there, mind you, this is a brand new gearbox, right? The bearing in there is either wore out or this sector shaft is so used, been rebuilt so many times that it's just sloppy in the bearing. I have a sinking suspicion I know what happened. I think they probably got this gearbox back on a return and looked at the outside of it. Oh, it's brand new. They put some, I don't even think they put any paint on it because it looks like it's been adjusted. It looks like somebody tried to adjust it. I didn't notice that. I saw the orange up there and didn't think nothing of it. You can see well, you can't anymore, but when I installed it with it centered just like you're supposed to. I literally didn't do anything to this thing. I bled it properly. It was a shit gearbox straight from OReilly's. And I've heard of several other people having issues with these. You know, if you're just a weekend warrior putting one of these in your truck because you don't want to take it to the dealership to do it, you may not know, you know, what to look for in these. And you go get out on the highway at 70, 75, 80 mile an hour, and you're not only, you know, you lose control of this truck, it's damn near 7,000 pounds of weight. God forbid you're hauling something or you're at max weight, you know, you're 23,000 pounds of weight if you're at max for these trucks, and you lose control of this thing, you know, you're probably going to be worm food, and you're probably going to make some other people on the highway worm food too. If you're going to go and get one of these, damn sure inspect it, you know. $405 from OReilly's, $629 from Redhead.
It's the same gear, except for they have taken it apart, and the way I understand it is they machine out this surface and put a no shit roller bearing in here, a good bearing, new sector shafts machined, and then they match the ball bearings on the worm gear. They match that to the interior so that there's no play, or within tolerance, I guess I should say. And then it's adjusted correctly for no play from them. So I'm going to get this thing installed. I've already torqued the nut, found center, and ready to put it in there and put it all back together. I hate to say it, I mean, Master Pro is built by OReillys. It's an OReilly's owned company, and it sucks, you know. You pay $400 for a gearbox and things shit right out of the box. That's bad. I don't know, maybe let you guys look. I mean, it's just a gearbox with a red top, but it's way better put together. I can tell just by looking, I can see the machine where they remachined the sector shaft or put a new one in there. It looks brand new in there. This one's got gouges. The seal is halfway coming out right here, which that's shit, you know. And the big thing is being able to move it, you know, 1/8 of an inch up and down. And I showed you that earlier, but I was a little leery about making this video because I really don't want to call anybody out, but that's they got to have some better quality control at Master Pro, because that could have killed somebody. I mean, there's no two ways about it. That much play in that sector shaft literally could have killed somebody by losing control, or with those tolerances opening up at high speed and the wheels start vibrating back and forth like a death wobble. You hit a gear just right, especially a sector shaft that's been used and reused and rebuilt so many times. You know, the metal's stressed in there. Snap a tooth off, the gearbox locks up. I don't even want to go into how many different ways that could have really screwed somebody. Honestly, I'm glad that I got it. It's a lot of ass pain, and it's going to cost me a lot more money. But because my truck doesn't go out on the highway, I mean, worst thing I'm going to hit's a damn tree or a cow or a fence. Yeah, I didn't put one of these in before because I couldn't justify spending the money for something that is not a highway vehicle. But at the same time, I'm getting real tired of changing these. And if that's the kind of quality that we're going to get from Master Pro, don't even get me started on AutoZone. I refuse to put anything from AutoZone on my truck. But anyway, I just want to make this video kind of an update, kind of a what to watch for. Hopefully this helps somebody. The long and the short of this video is go spend the money on a Redhead. Even for a truck that's gonna be out in the pasture, I still spent the money for it. And I guess I'm just gonna eat the $400 some odd on this, because this has to go back as a core, and you have to give them back, you know, a Ford casting like you got. So I got, if anything, I got lucky in getting a Ford casting, but that's about the only upside to this. So I'm gonna get this installed. Maybe I'll do a review video after. There's more to come on this truck. I'm gonna do that knuckle. Maybe I'll make a video on that. We'll see where it goes. But thanks for watching the video. Do all the things that every YouTuber asks you to do, like, subscribe, all that stupid shit. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.